Most people talk too much, and they pay for it. They explain, they justify, they announce, they defend, and every word leaks energy. Silence, on the other hand, stores it. That's the key. Silence is not weakness, it is control. The undisciplined mind speaks to release emotion. The disciplined mind stays quiet to preserve power. This is why disciplined people seem reserved. They are not shy, they are strategic. They understand something most people never learn. Every unnecessary word weakens position. You have a choice. You can speak to feel relief or stay silent to build leverage. Most people choose relief because relief feels good now. But relief trades long-term strength for short-term comfort. That's the mistake. Silence creates space. Space forces others to reveal themselves. Revelation creates advantage. That's the key. When you speak emotionally, you give information away. Your intentions, your insecurities, your plans. When you remain silent, you keep the upper hand. This applies everywhere. In conflict, silence prevents escalation. In business, silence protects strategy. In personal growth, silence preserves focus. The disciplined understand this. Not everything requires a response. Most things require restraint. You don't need their permission to stay quiet. You don't need approval to withhold explanation. You don't need validation to let silence stand. You have a choice. Talking often feels productive, but it's usually avoidance. Avoidance of discomfort. Avoidance of uncertainty. Avoidance of patience. Silence forces you to sit with tension, and tension is where discipline is built. Most people break silence to escape tension. The disciplined endure it. That's the difference. Silence also reveals intent. When you speak less, your actions speak louder. When you announce less, your results announce for you. People who talk about plans seek validation. People who execute quietly seek outcomes. It's not about expression, it's about discipline. That's the key. Napoleon Hill emphasized controlled imagination and definite purpose. But purpose does not need constant broadcasting. Broadcasting invites interference, opinions, doubt, distraction. Silence protects momentum. Momentum is fragile in the early stages. It requires insulation. Silence provides that insulation. You have a choice. When you feel the urge to explain yourself, pause, ask, is this explanation necessary or emotional? Most explanations are emotional. They come from the need to be understood, liked, or validated. Discipline does not require understanding. It requires execution. Execution makes explanation irrelevant. That's the key. Silence also trains emotional control. When you don't speak immediately, emotion loses its grip. Words are how emotion escapes. Silence contains it. Contained emotion becomes fuel. Uncontained emotion becomes noise. Noise drains energy. Energy is currency. The disciplined guard it. You don't need their permission to be reserved. You don't need approval to be private. You don't need validation to stay silent. Silence is self-respect in action. This does not mean you never speak. It means you choose when and why. You speak with intention, not impulse. That distinction is everything. Most people talk reactively. Disciplined people speak strategically. That's the key. Silence also exposes insecurity in others. When you don't respond immediately, people fill the space. They explain, they justify, they reveal. Meanwhile, you observe. Observation creates insight. Insight creates power. This is why silence is uncomfortable for the undisciplined. It removes distraction. It forces self-awareness, and most people don't want to face themselves. The disciplined do. You have a choice. Use silence to regain control when emotion rises. Use silence to slow situations down. Use silence to protect your focus. Every time you choose silence over reaction, you strengthen discipline. Every time you refuse to explain unnecessarily, you preserve energy, and preserved energy compounds. Silence also sharpens identity. You begin to see that you don't need to be heard to be effective. You don't need to be seen to be powerful. You don't need to be loud to be respected. Respect comes from consistency. Consistency is built quietly. That's the key. Look at people who talk constantly. They seek reassurance. They seek agreement. They seek attention, and attention seeking is expensive. It costs time. It costs focus. It costs discipline. The disciplined withdraw from noise. They choose solitude over stimulation, clarity over commentary, progress over praise. You don't need their permission to go quiet. You don't need applause to keep building. You don't need validation to stay focused. You have a choice. Silence is not empty. It is full of intent. It holds space for thought, for planning, for restraint. And restraint is advanced strength. You've learned how to control emotion. You've learned how to discipline desire. You've learned how to preserve energy through silence. Now it's time to apply discipline to time itself, because time is the one resource emotion wastes fastest. You've mastered restraint in expression. Now let's talk about restraint in gratification.